Joburg Film Festival officially kicks off today. It's packed with a long list of films set to cater to a large audience from different age groups, genders and cultures. The highly publicized Kenyan film Rafiki will be screened at the opening feature. The festival will showcase African and international films from over 16 countries at various venues around the city of Johannesburg. It runs until next week, Saturday. Joining us in studio is Tim Mangwedi, who is the executive director of the festival, and Mandi Sanduna, an actress on Sue the Winter, one of the films that will be screened. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me and waiting for this opportunity. I've been looking forward to it. So, Tim, this is the second Joburg Film Festival. The first one was in 2016. What happened in 2017? And what is the idea of bringing all these filmmakers and all these great works to Johannesburg in this way?
Look, thanks, Tula Caesar, for having us on E-News today. In 2016, yes, the Joburg Film Festival was the first year. It was inaugural Joburg Film Festival. The idea behind having this festival is about Johannesburg. It's a melting pot of culture. And because of it's a melting pot of culture and also the home to television and film, we decided to have a film festival that will pay homage to the film industry and also to celebrate the city through film. And that's the reason why we decided to have Joburg Film Festival. But most importantly, it's about also marketing Johannesburg as a film destination in the continent. Because as you know, the film and television industry is one of multi-billion industries that we don't necessarily pay attention to. But, you know, with having the film festival and Discop markets in Johannesburg, it's about making sure that we firmly put Joburg in an international stage and international...
In a moment, Tim, I want us to talk about the criteria for films to actually be part of the festival. But let me bring you into the conversation here, Mandisa. Tell me a bit about the film that you are in. I mean, I looked at that list and 1 minute I was saying, oh, I must see that. Oh, I must see that. And there's just so much to see. What's unique about the one that you are in?
Well, I have to boast a bit. Firstly, thank you for having me.
It's allowed.
And I have to boast a bit. Sow the Winter to My Skin is South Africa's official submission into the Academy Awards, into the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
So it's going up against, I think there's 87 of them, and they have to, you know, cut it down to 5 for the best foreign language film category.
Sure.
So we're very excited to be representing South Africa. And yes, it's a beautiful film, obviously, but I think people should definitely come and watch it.
What is it about? I mean, the fact that, you know, it's already in that long list for the Academy Awards says that it sort of, you know, attracted attention internationally. There must be something special about it.
Absolutely. It's actually based loosely on a true story. It's a story of John Kepe, who in the 40s and 50s was sort of the Robin Hood of his people, sort of the Samson of his people, where he would steal from the rich Afrikaner farmers and give to his community. So he's a legend, you know, in his time. So we're sort of telling that story, and I'm honored to be in it. And it's told in a very interesting way, in the sense that the film has limited dialogue. It's not a silent film, it's a limited dialogue film, so I think that's beautiful because visually I think it's just next level.
Sure.
Yeah.
Limited dialogue, so that's interesting in terms of the format of the film itself, Tim, but also if you look at the other films, it's documentaries that are from Africa and elsewhere in the world. What was the criteria? How did filmmakers and producers crack the invitation to Joburg Film Festival?
Look, with us, our film festival is a curated film festival. Our curator is Pedro Pimenta, who's a Mozambican, and also Pedro, he's actually been, he's now being appointed to sit on Academy, so he's one of the judges for the Oscars. So he's very knowledgeable with African cinema. So we select the films. So we select the films, but mainly we select premieres, films that have never been shown in the continent, and it will be the first time that they've been shown in the continent. That's mainly one of the criteria. And also in 2016, 3 of the films that we selected were actually were nominated for the Oscars. So that's the criteria of that, because we want excellent films. That's why we curate it. We don't open it to submission. We curate. Pedro spends a whole year looking for best films that 2018 can offer.
There is another film festival. It's known as the Josie Film Festival. Is there any relation between the two film festivals?
It's our baby. It's there. It represents a different market and also different films to us. But you know what? We invite them. They invite us, so we work together with them. But it is a smaller film festival than ours.
Mandisa, let me ask you, as someone who works in this space, the creative space, the question invariably comes up whenever we have such occasions that, how alive is Gollywood, as it were, the South African film industry. You talk about your film being in that long list for the Oscars. We would get really excited every time we hear there's a South African film even remotely being considered for the Academy Awards. How alive is Gollywood?
I think we're getting there. I think we're definitely becoming a force to be reckoned with. I mean, with film festivals like this, I think we're really taking those leaps and taking those strides to compete amongst the best. What I like about our film industry is that at this point in time, it's about quality, not quantity. But at some point, I do believe that we'll be able to match those two and produce many, many more films of the same quality, of the same standard, of international standard, if you may.
Tim, what is your sense? I mean, we've seen a lot in terms of the small screen, right? In terms of what's being commissioned recently. There's really, from a general observer view, there does seem to be an uptick in commissioning on the small screen. But does that hold for the big screen? And how interested are audiences in local productions?
Huge interest. I mean, we run one of the biggest trade shows in the continent called Discop Markets, and we have one in Johannesburg. And the reality of the matter is everybody's looking for content media in Africa. Content media in Africa is king. So what it means that we also have to look at how we change the funding model of TV and of film. And the reality of the matter is that there's still a room for cinema. All what we need to do, we need the studios to also fund and market South African films, African films. When you go to Cannes and you go to these big film festivals, you find that there's an African film that's showing in these big film festivals. But what happens? The studios are not marketing it like the way they would market the big international blockbusters. But we are also part of the international world. So what it means that we have to start having a very different conversation in terms of how we fund TV and film productions. But the reality of the matter is that we also have a lot of films, international films that are being shot in the continent.
Quickly, Tim, out of time, with the website where people can find out the details of where they can see the films. That's all we've got time for.
Thank you. www.joburgfilmfestival.co.za. Go and log into the website and look at the amazing program that we have on offer between the 9th and the 17th of November.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I look forward to it. It really does look promising. That is Tim Mangwedi, the Executive Director of the Joburg Film Festival, and actress Mandisa Nduna. Newsnight is